Hey real estate nerds, this is Alex Yoder with Pro Tip Tuesday, my favorite day of the week. And today I'd like to talk about what I'm going to refer to as principal defenders. Landlords specifically who are principal defenders. So let me start by just saying many years ago when I started in property management, I had a specific tenant that we were evicting at the time. And this tenant was just an absolute nightmare tenant. And we were in front of the judge in this hearing. And at the time, it was Magistrate Winograd. And I remember very specifically what Magistrate Winograd told us at the time. What he said was, kind of as we were getting into the case, was kind of a disclosure for both us and for the tenant. And basically he was saying, if you are expecting the other party in this case to walk out of here feeling like, oh man, maybe they had a good point, or oh, I probably screwed up, I learned a good lesson today, or really anything other than just irritation and anger and sort of doubling down on their entrenched position, then you are wasting your time and your energy and your peace, because that is never going to happen and doesn't ever happen when you are in a conflict of that kind. And it stuck with me because I think I used to be a lot more of a justice defender. You know, I had to make sure everyone saw the world that I did, and they saw the world the way that I did on certain interactions, and I wanted them to know that they were wrong if I was right. And I see a lot of people, and a lot of landlords in particular, making the mistake of just wasting so much time and energy and money to just prove somebody wrong or to teach somebody a lesson. And actually, I had a owner client some years ago. He was a military guy, and we managed a house for him out in the Falcon area. And the tenant owed like $350 for something. And this owner told me, I will spend any amount of money that I have to spend to go to court and to fight this guy, and I don't care if it costs me $3,000. He's going to know that he did the wrong thing, and I'm going to know that I made him realize that, basically. And this was kind of a prime or quintessential example of sort of not considering the end game and the impact. You know, the reality is, and this is kind of an opinion piece in some ways as well, but I think that in society we waste a whole lot of time being frustrated about people who think differently and who operate differently, and we try to force our opinions on them as opposed to just living by example and letting crap go, in short. And so, kind of in that same vein, I think for landlords, my advice for you is, if you are in a situation where you're fighting with a tenant about whatever it may be, dispense with the emotions of it and just treat it like a business transaction. You know, there was a post on our Colorado Springs Landlord Forum recently on Facebook that basically talked about, hey, I think my neighbor or the neighbor's landscaper accidentally ripped out a tree on my property line and a bush on my property line. And, you know, I wasn't going to go after them for this, but now that they're being rude to me, I may. And I just, to me, that's kind of being emotionally caught up in it. And the emotions are kind of driving the way you may act or react. And I really think we need to handle these things objectively and as a business. You know, if you were going to let it go before, let it go now. If you were going to go after it before, then go after it now. In that example, I personally would politely ask the neighbor to work with their landscaper to get the tree that was ripped out mistakenly on the property line replaced, and let the neighbor handle that. But independent of that, the point here is, if you are a landlord and you struggle with being kind of a principal defender or a justice defender and want to force your point of view down people's throats at any cost, I question if you're going to ever be, if you're ever going to enjoy the process of being a landlord. And I worry that if you can't find a way to let those things go, it's going to impact your opportunities in being a landlord, in being a buy and hold landlord. So that's just my kind of advice, my philosophy, my perspective on how to sort of logically and sort of how best to navigate the challenges, because it can be frustrating. I mean, these situations are so maddening sometimes when a tenant just absolutely doesn't care and just demolishes stuff and is just rude and aggressive or whatever it may be. But my encouragement for you is to view it objectively, view it as a business, let it go, and make business decisions considering the end goal and what your time is worth, and go from there. Hopefully this was helpful. We'll see you next week.